Hi there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. We're back again looking at the Avatar main set Legends, and today I'm back in a colour combination I'm very happy to be playing, which is red and green, because we're looking at Bumi Unleashed. 3 red and green for a 5/4 human noble ally. Has trample. When he enters you get to Earthbend 4, so put 4+1/+1 counters on one of your lands, it becomes a creature. Like that. But whenever Bumi deals combat damage to a player, untap all lands we control. There's additional combat step, and our lands can all attack again. Just our lands, just so we're clear on this. But yay, we like this plan. I really do like this plan. So here we go. Here's what today's deck looks like, and it gets a little bit tricky in places, so bear with me. So, as well as earthbending, we've got other ways of turning lands into creatures, and I'll be honest, all 5 of these planeswalkers, well, 3 or 4 of the planeswalkers do that. One's here for another reason. Starting off with Ren and Realm Breaker, we can turn a land into 3/3 elemental. It has hexproof and haste. Thanks, +1. If we can do the -7, you may play lands and cast permanent spells from your graveyard. We're going to be very happy. The -2, push, but it's the +1 and -7 we're really going for. The only one of the planeswalkers that doesn't give us lands as creatures is Garruk Wildspeaker, but hey, who doesn't like untapping their lands occasionally? Nissa, who shakes the world, gives us another way of turning lands into 3/3 elemental creatures that have vigilance and haste. They're pretty good, as well as the additional mana it gives us when we tap forests. The -8 is very good if we can get there. Bear it in mind. Nissa, the World Waker, is also in to make our lands 4/4 elemental creatures, and then untap 4 forests if we need to. Or, yeah, the -7, we can get all our basics into play. They become 4/4 land creatures with trample. They're still lands. Yeah, okay. Elementals, I should say, not land creatures. And finally, Nissa Ascendant Animist is in again. We does kind of left this alone. It does create a token as such. It's nothing to do with the lands as well. But the -7, until the end of turn, your creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. Okay then, I'm happy with that plan with all our lands, hopefully, as creatures. Speaking of creatures, there's not many. There's 20 in the deck. Goldvein Hydra to give us those treasure tokens to help us ramp. Kodama of the West Tree, because our lands are technically modified, so if they deal combat damage they can go and find other lands. Yay. Primal Adversary, a card you don't see that often, but it does turn our lands into 3/3 wolf creatures that are still lands, so okay. Tolf is here just to do the whole earthbending bit and have a fairly large power boost, I'm hoping. Earth Kingdom General gives us the Earthbend 2 as well as the life gain when we put +1/+1 counters on creatures. Arona, Dragon of the West, is also in. The mental's nice to make some of our creatures bigger, and then we get a little bit of firebending, and that does have an effect, and we've got a way of using the firebending, but it's a little bit tricky, so bear with me. Boulder, Ready to Rumble's in as well, just do the whole Earthbend where we've got creatures with power 4 or greater when they attack. Tolf, Hard-Headed Teacher's in, because let's just Earthbend everything in sight. Badgermole is also in for the Earthbending 2 and giving all our creatures with +1/+1 counters trample. Then a little bit of help with the ramp with Bonefall Dracosaur, because I'm playing a red deck and I just always try and play this card if I can. Barolus of the Ferris Band comes in from Jumpstart. I think it's Jumpstart 2022 off the top of my head. Power and toughness equals number of lands we control, and when they attack, draw a card and put a land onto the battlefield if we've got one in our hand. Okay, not tapped, just into play. Thank you. Embodiment of Insight, I think, is one card people too tend to forget about in Lands Matters decks, especially with this one where we're attacking with our lands, because it gives all our land creatures vigilance. And then we can have, when we do the landfall trigger, we can get lands we have in play become 3/3 elemental creatures with haste, and there's still a land. So obviously they'll have haste and vigilance and 3/3 when we do it, so yay. Karluk, Fury of Avernus, just gives another way of having a second attack phase, and it gives all our creatures first strike, which sometimes does help. Ojakazlim, the Deepest Growth, a land and a creature, and then when it dies, flips into the Temple of Cultivation, and you can flip it in and out as you need to. Overlord of the Hauntwoods gives us those lovely colourless land tokens named everywhere, and we can tap them for red and green and, well, white, blue and black as well, but that's irrelevant in this deck for obvious reasons. Avatar of Growth I'm going to talk about a little bit. In a normal game of MTGO of Commander, maybe at friendly local gaming store, on MTGO I tend to play mainly now, this will probably cost you 3 a lot of the time for a 4/4 with Trample. But, and it is a but, it does ramp your opponents up to give them a couple of basic lands each. However, I don't know what happens in your play group at your FLGS, but on MTGO, not many people play basic lands that often, so it is possible that you probably ramp at least one player in your pod when you're playing on MTGO, but a lot of the time, you'll be the only one benefiting from this, so just bear that in mind. It's a great card. Expensive in paper, not too bad on MTGO, just so we're clear. Avatar Rook, the Firebender, just chucks around Earth, well, technically Earth bending, and gives us a whole load of manners and gives us a way of pumping our creatures up. From there, Limara, Bella of the Woods is in, just to give us another creature that's really likes our lands we have in play. Excuse me. Morag, Fury of Kakum is in as well. Now, I'm going to say this every time. Play the land that you want to get the additional combat step from with Morag in your second main phase, if you can, because that's the only way you get the additional combat step. Okay, just so we're clear about it, it's got to be then. So make sure you do it. Give yourself more combats. It's all good. And finally, Kulith, the Unrivaled Ancient, is also making an appearance. Give us a whole load of mana that we don't lose, and then we just have to use it to cast spells. We've got ways of using it, believe me. From there, we have a whole load of sorceries, starting with Awaken the Woods, because the Forest Dryads that come into play that are 1/1 are actually land, so yay. Ramp with Fast Seek, Nature's Growth, Rampant Growth, Nature's Law, Rampant Growth 3 visits Cultivate, Kodoma's Reach, Ranger's Path, and Sky Shroud Claim. They're all in, but I missed out obviously Jessica's Will because, yeah, I'll play it. That's fine. It takes this deck to bracket 3, so if you want to play bracket 2, drop it out. Kodoma's Sylvian Awakening, is in next. Until your next turn, all our lands we control are 2/2 elementals. With Reach, Indestructible, and Haste, and there's still lands, so that gives us a whole way of attacking with all our creatures. Chain Reaction for the board control. Relentless Assault also comes in, just so we've got a way of spending some of the mana, which technically we have got a way of making the Firebending mana cast this in combat, so bear that in mind. I'm coming to it, I promise. Rude Awakening is also in. Untap all our lands for 5 mana, and then if we do the Entwine cost, they become 2/2s. Sozin's Comments in as well. Gives all our creatures Firebending 5. There are reasons, trust me, there are reasons. They are. Full Throttle gives an additional 2 combat phases, which is even better. Fury of the Horde just lets us exile a couple of red cards to have another combat phase. Okay, and Blasphemous Act for the board control. We've got Firebending lesson here, so I wanted one lesson for Tolf to go and find when we get there. Ancient Grudge, take out that annoying artifact twice. Obscura Haze to prevent us dying to combat damage from an Alpha Strike. And Kamal's Will. Any target of lands you control become 1/1 elemental creatures. There's Vigilance, Indestructible, and Haste. And then if you've got Bumi in play, which you really want to make sure you have when you cast this, all your creatures deal their damage to another creature you don't control. Short of Indestructible, that will kill every creature I could think of that would just die. Apart from maybe the 0/30 wall that's just come in with this set. Bear that in mind. But even then, you might have a lot of power on the board and do it anyway. From there, the artifacts. The Elixir of Immortality, shuffle everything back in when it goes pear-shaped. Expedition map to go and find one of our non-basic lands that we need and put it in our hand. Ramp with Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. A little bit of extra card draw with the Howling Mind. And Veldoken Orrery is in. Yeah, this lets you play your non-land cards anytime you can play an instant, which means all that mana you're getting from Firebending in combat means you can cast the additional combat spells if you want to. bear it in mind, okay? But it only works when the aura is in play, so, and it does tend to be a target, but I figured it's worth trying out in this deck because we want the additional combats. Enchantment wise, well, we've got 7 burgeoning, exploration to play additional lands, druid class to gain some life when we play those lands, and then eventually level up to level 2 and level 3 because our target land you control becomes a creature with haste, and this creature's power and toughness of each equals the number of lands you control. It's still a land. Yeah, okay then, happy with that plan. Bit of work, we could get the hold card draw on the go and then eventually do an exhaust trick if we need to Earthbend 4. Earthbender Ascension does Earthbend 2/4, fetches a basic, and with our landfall we should be getting this out so we can chuck around +1/+1 counters as things go along. The Cave of 2 Lovers is also in, 2 allies, then a mountain, and then an Earthbend 3, and the Legend of Koshai. Draw cards equal to the greatest power amongst creatures we control. Earthbend X at chapter 2, where X is the number of cards in our hand, and that land becomes an island. Just quick aside, if you know why this happens, can you let me know? I haven't got that far along in the Avatar series yet. I am trying to watch it. Still don't know why the island's important. Hopefully someone can tell me in the comments down below. And then chapter 3, we can exile it and turn it into the Avatar of... Oops. I have no idea what happened there, sorry. Avatar Koshi. Lands you control have trample and hexproof. And add X mana of any one colour where X is the greatest power amongst creatures you control. Yeah, okay, thank you. 39 lands in the deck. The most important one is probably Basing C. I think I've just butchered that name, so apologies. Enters tapped unless we control a basic, which we should do a lot of the time. 2 and a green to Earthbend 2 at sorcery speed. Yeah, okay, we'll just turn all our lands into 2/2 creatures as we go along, that's fine. Cactus Preserves in and add 1 mana of any type that land you control could produce and turn itself into a plant creature with reach. It's still a land, so it benefits from Bumi. Obviously, it is the greatest amount of value amongst your commanders, so it's going to have to only works when Bumi's in play. Bear that in mind, just so we're clear. We've also got the other lands in here that become creatures. Oh, Firelit. Nope, there you go. Fire Nation Palace is also in, just another way of chucking around Firebend to cast some of our extra combat turn spells, hopefully with the Orrery in play. Or, yeah, just cast anything, really. The other lands cards, I will point out, we have Lair of the Hydra is in as well, so we can have a XX large Hydra. Notice if someone does take control of your turn, they can't just kill your land off, so it has to be X, can't be 0, so yay. Raging Ravines in as well, chuck around +1/+1 counters at 4 mana to turn it into a creature. It's 3/3, it's still a land, and the Restless Rage Line is also in. It becomes a 3/4 dinosaur that's a land. And whenever it attacks, another target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn, and you untap that creature. Okay, happy with that. The rest of it, red and green all the way through. Nothing particularly fancy here at all, and that is it. However, there is one card that people are probably asking about why it's not in the deck, and I'm going to be 100% honest about it. If you are lucky enough to own this card, Badger Mole Cub, Dropper Forest, play this card. It is fantastic. The reason I'm not playing it in this deck, and I'm going to be 100% honest about it, is at the moment as I record this video on Magic Online, these are being sold for something in the region of 54 tickets, so $54. I think in real life over here in the UK, they're selling for between £30 and £35 a chuck. I haven't got one. I'm not paying that sort of ticket value on MTGO to have one in a deck. But if you've got one, like I say, drop a land, go to 38 lands, play the Badger Mole Cub. It really does help you out. So I'm just putting that in as an aside before I go back to talking about Bumi, who I've really enjoyed talking about in today's video. Like I said, it is fun. Maybe you could put some more earthbending in if you want to. I've decided to try and play around with it a different way. So, yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. If you can, hit the cheer button as well. Please help me try and beat the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. We're going to be back tomorrow. We've got another green deck tomorrow and then something a bit special later in the week that I've been working on. So for now, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you very soon. Bye.